Our country, Kenya, is a land of great beauty and splendor. Of the total land area of Kenya, 11,000 square kilometers is water. Of the remaining landmass, only 20% is of high and medium agricultural potential. The rest, 80%, is arid and semi-arid. And this is where you find most of our livestock and wildlife. The people of Kenya are as varied as their country. Kenya is inhabited by 42 major communities speaking different languages and of different cultures.
Back home, as you are aware, between 70 and 80% of our people depend on agriculture, and a majority of them are small-scale farmers. Therefore, the challenge of food security is an imperative that we cannot ignore. Given a number of factors, one is reducing land size, also reducing soil fertility, and other challenges that have arisen out of land use over the period.
The result of this is reduced productivity, and if allowed to continue, would result in severe food shortages than we have ever seen. The need to produce enough food is one of the reasons for us to improve the conservation, utilization, and management of natural resources. Soil conservation activities were revived in the country in 1974 with the aim of using simple and effective conservation measures that could be carried out by farmers themselves. Over the years, our farmers have put soil conservation structures in place. This has worked well in some parts of the country, while not in all. Food security and poverty reduction can only be achieved if sustainable land and soil management practices are applied on a large scale. So what do we do? One of the initiatives to improve the soil fertility has been through conservation agriculture. This calls for a drastic change, first of all in our tillage practices. Our soils should be disturbed as little as possible and protected by a cover of mulch or crops the greatest part of the year. Ripping, direct planting or pitting should replace plowing and intensive cultivation.
Conservation agriculture is like farming in harmony with nature, so that we do not destroy the environment in terms of water, soil, and nutrients, because of the general logic that soil is a living organism, and once you destroy it, even the other agricultural inputs that you actually do use later would not be would not give you the results that you need.
Conservation agriculture works in three concepts. That is, no mechanical disturbance of the soil, permanent soil cover, and crop rotation by including multiple cropping, agroforestry, and animal integration. In introducing CA activities in the country, different farmer groups have chosen a theme of emphasis depending on their development status. Farmers in Machakos have integrated the use of cover crops in their farming. Legume cover crops have been proven as an effective means of sustaining soil fertility. When incorporated into the soil, legumes improve soil organic matter, moisture retention, breaking of hardpan, soil workability, and recycle nutrients.
We are evaluating cover crops for weed management in conservation agriculture, where weeds remain a big challenge. This cover crop so far has shown us good benefits because it covers the soil within 2 months, and in the third month, even getting inside walking becomes a big problem, but that is what we need because we want the soil covered. And Doricos Lab is beneficial in that it is producing a lot of grains, and this will help the farmer greatly by providing the seeds for the next season and even for the farmers surrounding. We provided the seeds from the Kari Green Legume Project.
Hortensia has been working with different farmer groups in promotion of cover crops, especially in Machakos. For those of us who know this part of the country, it is characterized by crop failure year in, year out.
Kama tukipata mvua ya kutosha, itaendelea kutoa matawi na matawi mingi mpaka inafunika kabisa inakuwa. Jina langu ninaitwa Sera Nduku Zilia. Hapa kwetu panaitwa Katua.
I'm Sara Nduku, a member of Katua Meko Women Group. Last season, I had planted tomatoes on this bench. We are happy because after subsoiling, the furrows have retained moisture. As you can see, the maize is doing better than my neighbors. I believe we will harvest all this. The only problem we have is termites.
Ni hii mwisho inatusumbua sana. Tunamuomba afadhali mtutafutie madawa.
Sometimes difficult weeds will require integrated approach with use of selected herbicides to control. Therefore, this calls for sprayers and technical know-how for appropriate use. One of the concepts of CA is minimum disturbance of the soil. The farm implements like the plow that the farmers are used to have to be set aside. This calls for farm implements like the subsoilers, reapers, and jab planters. At first, these implements were imported from Brazil, but they are now available in the country.
We specifically deal with the farm implements, animal drone. Of late, we are doing conservation agriculture implements, the reapers, the subsoilers, and the extension hitches. And of course, we do other general engineering works. Conservation agriculture technology came from Brazil, and we got training at Nairobi University, Kabete campus, on the manufacture of the implements. My main customers are the farmers, and there are also other organizations that support the agricultural sector who are also my customers. They come and purchase and hand over to the farmers, and especially those who are in groups. And as we are talking now, I've already trained over 10 artisans in various places of our country.
As a result of the successes of these groups in eastern Kenya, other communities have developed an interest and are being taught on how to use these implements.
Ukitaka kuchanganya mahindi na maharagwe, yani kupanda kwa laini moja, atawezekana hiyo?
Kama ni mbegu futi moja kutoka futi moja mpaka ile nyingine, sasa wewe mwenyewe utajifundisha tu.
In western Kenya and parts of Rift Valley, the CSAD, Conservation Agriculture for Sustainable Agriculture and Rural Development, implemented by FAO, is using farmer field schools approach to upscale CA practices. In all the schools, farmers have come up with 5 plots, of which they observe the different approaches.
Hii ni plot number 3 ambayo tunafanya kilimo hifadhi.
This is plot number 3, where we practice conservation agriculture. We subsoiled in January and applied Roundup in April. We planted maize without cultivating. 3 days after, we applied Lasso GG. As you can see, the maize is doing well.
In the farmers' field school approach, farmers follow the process at different stages of the crop growth.
Na siku ya leo tulikuwa tumekuja kuchukua AESA.
Today we've come to do an AESA, or finding out the progress of the crop. The crop is doing well.
Jinsi unavyoendelea na tukakuta kwamba siku ya leo inaendelea vizuri sana.
And 20 centimeters.
The farmers learn throughout the cropping calendar. What are some of the challenges faced in introducing CA?
The availability of the relevant equipment. We realize that there are special implements and tools which are required, like the direct seeders, the jab planters. Those ones are not locally available. They have to be imported all the way from Brazil. So when it comes to the timeliness of the operations in the absence of the equipment, it becomes a real challenge. 2, farmers are a little bit rigid. They are used to the conventional way of doing things, that is the land preparation, harrowing before they plant. So the few we've had in these schools have been able to go through the syllabus of conservation agriculture, and they are picking up the technology slowly by slowly. As of the implements, we realize that conservation agriculture implements work well during the dry spell. So in Bungoma here, most of the parts we do receive good rains. So when the implements are not there in good time, you find that the use of those equipments becomes a big challenge because they end up sticking or the mud clogging in them. That has become a big challenge. So we put a lot of emphasis on the timeliness of the operation.
The success of the conservation agriculture will only be achieved through collaboration of various stakeholders from both public and private sector. As you know, key institutions in this initiative is NEPAD, Africa Conservation Tillage Network, ICRAF and FAO, just to name a few.
Perhaps one may think that CA can only work with small-scale farming. But as proven by this farmer in Laikipia, large-scale farming has its own machinery and business needs, and conservation agriculture can derive major benefits.
We adopted a principle of zero-till farming back about 4 years ago. And every year since I adopted it, life has been better for me. The rainfall has diminished.